Since the return of the NBA to a full season schedule, fans knew that things were bound to get exciting. But with a number of teams in need of help and the trade window quickly coming to a close, a lot of us are finding ourselves on the edge of our seats. So what should you know about the latest NBA headlines right now? And where is Simmons heading? For all this and more, stay tuned. First of all, let's take a look at the odd situation Ben Simmons is currently in. For those of you who don't know, the NBA trade deadline is just a few days away, and unfortunately for Ben Simmons, there is yet to be any resolution around his future in the league. As of right now, he's still stuck with the Philadelphia 76ers. And according to the latest rumors, his team might choose to hold on to him until the offseason so they can go ahead and pursue James Harden or superstars of the like. The Sacramento Kings, who have long pawned over the impressive point guard, have also pulled out of the race to secure him. As we mentioned earlier, the trade window is next to closed right now, and the market for his skill set is shrinking by the hour. This is really odd though, considering how Simmons has had a tremendous season with Philadelphia so far. They currently sit third overall in the Eastern Conference, which makes one wonder why Simmons would want to get out as soon as possible. Maybe it's because he knows that Sixers president Daryl Morey wants him out following those blunt statements made by the boss a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who missed it, Morey went on to state that the Sixers are looking for an impact player who will help the team move even closer to title contention. And in his eyes, Simmons isn't that player. So it makes sense that Simmons would want to leave, but will he be able to? That being said, there seems to be a lot more going on behind the scenes. If you actually look at the trade package being offered for Simmons, you can already see that things aren't as they usually are. Brian Windhorst of ESPN even opened up about the package, saying that some of the trade requirements being asked for are so outside the realm of possibility that it makes it feel as if the team is asking for something other teams would never take. Like the offer for Simmons is nothing more than a ruse. Why would the team decide to do this though? We have no idea, especially since it's set to decrease the overall value of Simmons in the long run. According to Windhorst, it is also important to note that Philadelphia is still paying luxury tax, which might have a lot to do with the situation of disrespect. According to him, it might all come down to billionaire owner of the team, Josh Harris, who has now been termed the wild card in the Simmons trade. In essence, if Simmons isn't traded for another superstar and Philadelphia comes up short of a championship, this would make for a wasted season, but one of the best for Joel Embiid's career. When asked about the situation a few days ago, Simmons himself mentioned that Embiid is another wild card to consider in his trade deal. Rather than sacrifice the rest of Embiid's season, Philadelphia might want to instead hold off on the trade, ensuring that Embiid has his #1 supporter to back him. If this is a true reflection of events, it's a bit of a slap in the face of Simmons though. According to Simmons, this is the most unprecedented situation in 40 years of basketball. Having him sit out of the championship or be placed on the back burner so that another player succeeds is a real disgrace and makes him feel like his team doesn't really care about the time he's already given them. The only championship contender who has ever given up a year of his life was Michael Jordan, but at that point even he thought he was retiring. Plus, Jordan had already won a championship by then, making the situation less than comparable to what Ben Simmons is currently dealing with. The man is in his prime at the moment, after all. As we mentioned earlier, he's having one heck of a season for Philadelphia, so in order to have him sit down in exchange for another player's career is the pinnacle of disrespect from the 76ers, especially since they want to hold off on trading him by asking for some of the most ridiculous demands ever seen in the league. The team on ESPN talked openly about the situation and came to the same conclusion, stating that Daryl Morey would have gotten rid of Ben Simmons ages ago because he can't stand guys who can't shoot. In other words, it seems that everyone agrees that Josh Harris is to blame, and we really hope the situation doesn't blow up anytime soon and ruin Philadelphia's chances at the season win. Another player having trouble right now is Russell Westbrook of Lakers fame. Although he was once considered to be one of the best point guards in the history of the game, Lakers fans have somewhat turned against Russell Westbrook in recent months, and because of this, his position on the team is looking a bit murky. Rewind things back to Saturday afternoon, and you'll see Westbrook being booed by his home fans, which resulted in him being benched by the Lakers heading into overtime. Before that, something even more unique happened though. When Westbrook ended up in the corner of the court with the ball, a shot that he has been missing all season long, fans pleaded for him not to take the shot. There were just 3 minutes left in the game after all, and possession was more important than anything. There were shouts of pass it to Davis, but Anthony Davis was unfortunately being covered, and so Westbrook went for the shot, eliciting a groan from the crowd, who disappointedly watched the shot miss as expected. And essentially, it was this hesitation of his that resulted in the game going to overtime in the first place. And this isn't the first team Frank Vogel has done this to the legendary player. As of right now, it feels like Westbrook is too much in his own head, and if he doesn't stop overthinking and missing baskets, he may very well be on his way out of the Lakers roster. We'll just have to see what the future holds for him. But if you think Westbrook had a bad day, just wait until you hear about Lawson. Although retired from the game, Ty Lawson is still making basketball headlines by acting contrary to how a regular person should. And just a few days ago, his lack of respect for others led to him being detained by Spanish police in Madrid's Barajas airport. According to reports from eyewitnesses, Lawson was seen being incredibly rude and aggressive towards 2 Iberia employees who kindly asked the former basketball star to wear a mask while in the airport. Just moments before, he was seen walking up to the boarding gate without a mask, which made more witnesses stare in his general direction. This allowed his little outburst to have an audience, so it wasn't difficult for police to determine who was at fault. According to reports, he had actually threatened to punch one of the employees for asking him to wear his protective gear. Bear in mind that this isn't the first off-the-court moment that has led to Lawson making international headlines. While playing in the Chinese league after his time in the NBA, he was actually let go for making sexist comments about a Chinese woman he had taken a picture with. It must also be said that he's been arrested for drunk driving before. In other words, the fact that he was arrested for being disrespectful and rude isn't as surprising as you might think. In fact, we've come to expect this from Ty Lawson over the years. Last but not least, we have some trade news involving Powell and Covington. After designating their entire team as free to trade, the Portland Trail Blazers have reportedly signed a 5-player trade with the Los Angeles Clippers that should shake both teams up for the better. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski went on to summarize the trade by stating that the Clippers would be receiving Normal Powell and Robert Covington in exchange for Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second-round pick. This is fantastic news for the Clippers, who are currently sitting at 27-27, just 2.5 games behind the Denver Nuggets, who hold 6th place. This means that the Clippers now have players to replace their injured squad and could easily steal that position from the Nuggets with the intention of eventually making it into the playoffs. The trade also has the effect of placing the Portland Trail Blazers under the luxury tax, with the Clippers' tax bill rising to over $19 million. And there you have it, everything you need to know about the 2021-22 NBA season right now. What are your thoughts on the Simmons trade though? And how do you feel about the Clippers' new chances? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below.